Okay, as a follow-up to or a final for the walnut and cherry stems, you can see now I've got it finished off, got all the tongue oil on it. This was the original that I was working from. This was the one that I made on the previous video. What I'm going to do now is I've decided to use this wine glass for it. Now what I'm going to do, and what I always try to do, is picture how would the glass look once it's mounted on it. So I think I'm going to go ahead and use this one. A lot of people have asked in the forums, how do you cut a stem? Some people will go and they'll have someone cut it for them. I've seen a lot of different answers. The way that I do them is I use a simple triangle file. This one is maybe a 1/4 inch wide. You can use a bigger file. You can use just the edge of a regular file. You want to have a fairly fine tooth on it. Now I know that from looking at the depth down in here and comparing the two side by side, I know that I'm going to want to cut this one right about here. So what I'm going to do, you just take it and you just simply score it. We'll go ahead and do that. And the reason I use a towel down here is because it does generate some very fine glass particles. Once we score it, I just take and just work it right on around, making sure you can hear the glass, that gritty sound underneath of it. Sorry to put my thumb in the way, but that's the way I usually will guide it around, is let it ride against the edge of my thumbnail. And I'm not trying to saw through it. You just simply want to score, have a good clean score mark on the glass. Now this stem is actually, I think it's like 8-sided. So I've got the flats to score through, and I've also got the angles to score. Now, unlike cutting regular glass, where they say once you use a glass cutter and go through it, you never want to go back over your same mark. When I'm doing stems, if it doesn't score well, I will go back and rescore over it again just to get a good. This is an old file, and I do have some spots on it that aren't as good as others. That's why I keep rotating it around. You just take your time with it. And make sure that you get your scoring all the way. Alright, if you can see that, you've got a score mark all the way around it. Now, to actually remove the bottom of the stem, I use a larger, this is about a 3/8 or a 1/2 inch triangular file. I'm just going to take the edge, and I'm using my tip of my fingernail so that when it would hit my fingernail, it's going to come down and land right on that score mark. That's what you're shooting for. And it usually just, once I have it lined up and I know that when it slides off my fingernail it's going to hit that score, and that's all there is to it. Even though this fractures out just a little bit right here, that is not a big issue. The reason being is that when you use, well, I use a 3-ton, 5-minute waterproof epoxy to mount the stem and base together. When I do that, the epoxy is going to take care of covering and filling all of this in, so that when you look through the bottom of the glass, you literally will not see anything except the bottom of the glass and wood. You won't see any of these fractures that you're seeing now. Okay, that's about it for now. Got one more stem to cut, and then I'll be gluing those up, and I'll show you the finished product.